sector is voluntary, faith and charity.
Okay, it's one of those terms that's used. I'd like to move on to the next question, please, and Bev's going to ask this on behalf of the question.
This next question has come in from a gentleman from Northwich, and he'd like to ask the panel, given the past 10 years of abysmal failure, how do you propose to regenerate the Weaver Valley Northwich vision?
Councillor Manley.
Thank you for that question. Yes, we have been a long time looking at Northwich vision and moving things forward. Just a bit of background for people who don't know it, the Northwich vision had to be started because of the mine stabilisation project. We got £32 million for stabilising the mines in the Northwich area. That work obviously was work that needed to be done. It was groundbreaking work where new techniques were used, but you saw very little of it because it was all being done underground. That work is now completed and the contractors have moved on, but we still have to wait for the Environmental Agency to issue all the certificates for all the mines. The mines were filled and then they have to be actually tested to ensure that they are stable and that we can build on top of those mines. If we don't do that, whatever buildings are put there, you would be not be able to ensure anything of it. So yes, things I think abysmal is the correct term here. Nothing has happened. So what does a new council propose to do about this? How do we take it forward to the future? Well, we have the Weaver Valley Regeneration Board, one of the 4 regeneration areas we have within the new council. In the last month, there has been an advert gone out for the chair of that board, and the appointment of that chairman will be announced in February next month to say who is going to lead that and move it forward. We had a partnership from some years ago with a firm called Wilson Bowden. That partnership is still there and in existence. As a council, we are re-looking at that, seeing whether that partnership is correct. We're getting our legal people to see how it needs to be reinterpreted and redirected so we can actually move forward. Because perhaps the original programme that was devised for the regeneration of the Barons Quay area needs to be looked at. Because we're in a different situation now. We've heard all about the economy, of where it's going and what it's going. We also know that retail the market is different now than it was 3 or 4 years ago. And maybe will not return to what it was 3 or 4 years ago because of the way the market is developing. A lot more internet shopping is being done. A lot of people want to go to perhaps larger outlets where they can get all their equipment rather than going to various outlets. So we need to take that forward and see how we can move that in a right and proper way. We're not just only looking though at the Barons Quay, but for the whole area of the Weaver Valley development. And that includes Winsford as well, and also Middlewich, where we're setting up a joint board with Cheshire East. So we are working together with our partners here, with the North West Regional Development Agency, to ensure that we bring in not just redevelopment for Northwich.
But they won't be there much longer, according to your national government.
No, but there will be another body there, because money...
What's the point of changing them around?
I don't know, because the government, I'm not...
No, it's not the government, it's what the Conservatives are saying.
I don't know that. But money does flow around these systems. And if we change the name, it doesn't mean the money is going to stop. Some of it will still be there, and we need to actually make sure, as a new council, we are there to attract that money. Also, recently we passed the Riversdale Bridge development, which is part of the area whereby we're going to restore the access to Sir John Dean's from the castle and area, where actually gives better access to the Weaver Valley. We've recently talked about how people feel about open spaces. What we're intending to do is open up the Northwich and the Weaver Valley, including Winsford and Middlewich, for recreational development purposes, and to ensure that we've got a sustainable economy for the future.
Thank you very much. Your thoughts on the future of the Weaver Valley? Gentleman up there.
My name is Jim Oler, resident of Northwich. Northwich has got quite a number of considerable assets. The river, regenerated parkland, and of course free car parking. Can you give a commitment here and now that any vision or change for Northwich will guarantee maintenance of free car parking?
I can guarantee about the actual usage of the riverside, because we've got two good riversides there, the Dane and the Weaver. We've also got the Carey Park and the links with the Anderton boat lift, and the car parking, as you say, is free. As a council, you've heard before, we will need to look at that, but I'm sure that the residents of the actual Northwich and surrounding areas would want that to be maintained.
I should get some small change in your cars.
Yeah, but I want a guarantee from the council here and now. They will guarantee free car parking for the future. The only second one is that we also endeavour to stop squandering vast amounts of public money on useless consultants, like on the Riversdale Bridge, and we recently heard this £300,000 was going to be spent on consultants on Moss Farm. Quite ridiculous amounts of money on consultants, whereas you're the paid officers of the council, should be making their own judgments and own responsibility and not wasting money on consultants.
That's a very good, that's a slightly wider question, which is certainly appropriate for the leader, because look at this array of talent you have on the front bench. Why on earth would you need to spend money on bringing outside people in? But it's a habit of local authorities, and maybe you're going to break it, Mike.
Well, let's do the first issue, car parking. We have no plans, no intention to introduce car parking charges anywhere where they're not there now. What we are looking to do is how we can reduce car parking costs, and there is a case for maintaining car parking charges in Chester, because we have 8.5 million visitors a year, and frankly, if you go on holiday you expect to pay, why shouldn't they? So what we are doing is looking at a scheme where residents get it either cheap or free, but visitors pay a sensible, modest amount to support the refurbishment of car parks, which they do need resurfacing, and there are costs associated with it. But broadly, you as taxpayers have paid for them anyway, so why should you pay them to use them? So we are looking at doing that, and we are looking at how we can reduce those costs. With consultants, I broadly do agree with you if consultants are used in a non-restricted way, and I've been involved in major businesses where you get like some McKinsey's in, and before you know it, you're spending £5 million a year, which is frankly disgraceful. However, there is a sensible use of consultants for specific jobs, and we will use consultants where that is appropriate in a controlled and sensible way. And a good example is where we employed our chief executive. He had no resources, frankly. We had a number of volunteers from different councils. There was him and I and the executive who were trying to get things done. We employed a number of consultants to get him on the way, because we had a set of directors to appoint, and we had a whole load of other people to appoint, 500 managers before the 1st of April, so that when 15,000 staff transferred to us, they knew who they were going to work for and what. And we could only have done that with the help of external consultants. And we will use external consultants on specific projects where they will clearly add value. But they will be tightly controlled.
Any other brief comments on the Weaver Valley? The lady right down here in the middle.
I just wanted to take the point of car parking. Have I not read somewhere recently that the car park in Holmes Chapel will be charged?
That's all part of Cheshire East, and they had a policy of introducing car parkers across the whole area, because they had car parking charges in Maxfield and they said it should be everywhere else. We don't operate that way. I think they've changed their mind on that, by the way, a week last Friday, but that is Cheshire East. Yes. We believe that every town, village and the city have different needs and should be treated separately and looked at in their own individual way.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Michael Harris, please.